Hi everyone, welcome to the Red Car Effect. My name is Shiko. If you're just finding me, thank you very much. Hope you stay. If you're returning, I appreciate you. Thank you. So, another pretty day in the city, another pretty day in the life. And you'll have to understand the sun, when I started, the sun was giving me a bit of allowance to record from mostly kind of that side. Then I moved to somewhere here. Now I'm kind of angling this way because the sun is really moving. Bear with me, we'll be fine. Yeah, so today I want to talk about something that I find kind of funny. Now I find it funny. It wasn't funny before. I call it the illusion of control. It's an illusion because what do you really control other than what you do and what you think and what you say and how you react to things? Everything else is just nothing. You're not really controlling anything. In this case, I think the one thing I think I'll focus on for this episode is relationships, especially with I work with significant other, husband, the whatever you want to call your significant other, and then we'll move on maybe to I'll touch on parental, like our parents. So I heard, I think, did I hear it or did I read it? I know there's nothing new under this sun. Every problem you think you're experiencing, someone else has experienced, almost to the exact same intensity. But we always feel like when we're going through a problem or what I call a challenge, we always think we are the only ones and it's really bad and it's just me and I can do something about it, or it reflects something on me. And that's such a poor way of thinking. And I know it's poor because I've thought that what someone else does is a reflection on me. There's nothing further from the truth. What someone else does is what someone else does. What someone else thinks is just what someone else thinks. Even a parent's opinion, it's just their opinion. Who said they're God? They're not God. They're just a person who at least you give some importance to because they brought you into this life and they're a constant. But we tend to kind of what's the word I can use? There's an actual word for it, but it eludes me. I'll probably put it up there because it'll come back to me. We idolize these parents to an extent that is kind of unhealthy. But anyway, we'll get back to the parents part. So the thing I want to talk about is the relationship with a spouse, especially if you're just starting to get kids. That's the part that I think is the rockiest. It's the rockiest in most marriages. When the kids come in, the dynamic of the relationship changes, and it changes so much that people don't give it the importance. Don't give that phase the importance it deserves. The thing that happens in a woman's life and when a child comes into play is completely different from the thing that happens in a man's life when a child comes into play. The man will not, in most cases, the man will not feel that change the way the woman would feel it. They're going to be very different. Yes, he'll have his things that he'll have to deal with and adjust to, and my focus is going to be on the woman because that's the experience I have had. When the kids come into play, your personality kind of has to shift or adjust, and the changes that come into play are not, although they're obvious, but we don't see them for what they are. Let me give you an example. My partner and I were more or less guys used to go out, enjoy life, grab a drink, whatever. The life of people who don't have kids is pretty simple. And then when the kids came, well, that part of his life really didn't change, did it? He didn't have to stay home and breastfeed and da. And I felt like I was missing out on a life that I had, a life that I was living, which was now my life. My life had taken a backseat. And that's how I took it. I took it as my life has changed so much. And for some reason, there is a need to want to go back to the life that you had before the kids. That's an illusion. That life is gone. When the kids come in, that life is gone. There is no hanging on to it. It's that person who was in the club didn't have kids, was not a person who's gone through the things you've just gone through. So trying to get back to a life that was is innately, well, wrong. Because that life doesn't, that person does not exist. If that person doesn't exist, where are you going back to? You are not that person. So trying to relive the life you had in what you call the glory days, because kids come with a lot of challenges, they come with a lot of mental drain, emotional drain, physical drain, there's drain, a lot of drain. If you don't get into parenthood with the right mindset, which is a mindset that is not taught, I wish it was a lesson that guys used to get, that up to this point your life will be like this. Up to this point, when you get the kids, their life will have to turn into something like this. And then if the kids leave the nest, their life will... I think these things need to be taught. Sadly, we're not taught these things in school. That's why we have to read in books, because all the wisdoms of the world are hidden in books. But we'll never open the books. Do we really open those books? Anyhow, the person who I was before the kids came into play, that person ceased to exist. And the new person that replaced this person was not familiar to me. So I was still trying to be the person I was. And there is no bigger conflict, there's no bigger friction than that. Because now you do not know who you are. You are kind of attached to a persona that God has essentially changed. Just changed by giving you this child. God has completely changed your perception of everything. So now, the only way you can exist in this new reality is to first sit down and figure out who you are. Who is the new you? And you'll never figure out who the new you is without accepting that your life has completely changed. So now you're at home with a baby, you can't really do the things that you used to do, but your mind wants to be out there. It wants to be in the familiar, the thing that gave you that dopamine hit, which was being out and grabbing drinks and hanging with the friends and partying and socializing and being, chasing the good vibe. But now I didn't have this option of going there, but I'm still trying. Create so much conflict here that my house was pretty much unlivable, because I have refused to accept that my life has changed. Life as we knew it, life as I knew it, was completely different now. When I started reading the book started telling me that wherever you are, you need to be there. Wherever you are, be there. Don't be mummying while your mind is stuck on the things you're missing out on, the things that you're feeling you're missing out on. That is now, again, it just, there's a glitch in your matrix, because that is the biggest, the unhappiness in life comes from not appreciating where you are. It's wanting to be somewhere you're not. That creates the biggest turmoil. I think I heard that from Tony Robbins, one of his talks that he gave, saying the biggest unhappiness is caused by wanting to be there while you're here. Like the blueprint you have in your mind of what happiness is. For me, happiness was out there, partying, clubbing, doing this. And that blueprint was, the thing that was on the ground was not matching that blueprint of what joy is and what fun is and what happiness is and da da da. And so I was missing out on the joys that come with the babying and the mommying because I'm trying to be out there. And I feel like I missed out on a big chunk of it when the kids were younger, at least when my firstborn was younger. But now I'm very, very aware of this period. I am aware of what mommying is. I am aware of how fast it's moving, how quickly things change in kids' lives. And if you cut yourself, let me use myself. If I cut myself away from an environment or a person who I feel was not ideal or was not giving me the kind of time I wanted, or I did not like the person I was when I was with them, for whatever reason, I cut myself off from someone, or nature centers in different directions, this person stops being important in my life. Like, I will stop missing them. After a little while, I'll just get used to living without this person. And this could even go to the level of a parent. Enough people don't talk to their parents. Enough people have alienated their siblings. So it doesn't have to be a person who's far away. It can be just a choice you've made in your life. And you kind of cease feeling that intense nudge, that thing of missing this person, because the longer you are away from someone, the easier it is for you to just function. You learn to function in another way. Even with kids, I found, if you're not present in their lives, present physically and present emotionally, they kind of place you somewhere. Their system also works to protect them from that emotional drain of wanting the affection, and it's not coming. It happens in nature. When a dog is abused, it recoils, and it becomes a very scared animal, and you find a way to adjust to your environment, which is a natural thing. So now that I am in this mommying phase, I am trying to be in this mommying phase as presently as possible, because this is the phase that I am in currently. I best be finding the joy here. And once you have accepted that I am here, I am in this phase of life, the trick is to now find the things that you like about being where you are. You have to find the joy where you are. Anything else is an illusion. It is a lie. Your joy does not reside out there. Your joy does not reside with someone. So when the partner is still doing the clubbing and he's living his life, he's living his best life according to you or me, and now it's creating a problem, because I say you because I'm pointing at me, because this is also a personal experience. You are projecting your insecurities onto this person. You want them to do something. You want them to act a particular. You want them. Illusion of control. You can only control what you do, what you say, how you react to things, but you can never make someone do anything. You will never be able to make someone do something else. You will never be able to change a person. You cannot change, especially a spouse. I always like to go back to this spouse issue. This spouse you met when you met when you were grown up. You were in charge and fully in control of all your faculties. You were an adult, all things considered. You met this person and they were an adult as well. So which part of you that is so entitled makes you feel like that you are able, or you have the ability to control someone else? And that was such a hard lesson for me. And when at some point the relationship was very, very rocky, very bumpy, the only other thing that when you start reading and researching and you open yourself up and you at least even pray, you talk to God, you believe that there is a higher power. If you ask for the help, if you ask for direction, the direction I found always comes. It'll come in form of something that will be sent to your feed. It'll come in form of someone talking to you. But you always have to be present. That's the thing. Mindfulness. Everything leads back to my mindfulness, because these answers that this prayers that you're praying and this answer that you're seeking will come through people. It'll come through people, through a book that lands on your desk. It'll come through a clip that lands on your phone. a forward that someone sends you, the answer is going to come somehow. So you have to always be where you are, be present, and it'll find you where you are. You'll never find an answer, a solution outside there. It'll find you where you are, because the creator of this world did not make silly mistakes like this. I believe in a power that knows, that can. And you see, if you don't have that innate knowing that things are working out in a particular way, you will always have turmoil. You're always trying to fix things and break things and bring things down and get to the bottom of things, which is kind of wasted energy. It is the biggest amount of nonsense that I think I've ever put myself through, trying to change somebody. When I read, when I started researching these things that were coming onto my feed, they were telling me to just leave it alone. Everything was leave it alone. Like, I'd come across a sermon by Joel Austin called "Leave It Alone," and something else would come on my feed that tells me you can only control what you do, and something else. Like, the information was landing on my lap, and much as I was ignoring it, eventually I just had to listen and decided, you know what? Why do I feel like the choices my spouse is making, good or bad, have anything to do with me? They are his choices. They are his lessons. They are his wins. They are his lessons in life. Generally, basically, God doesn't stop working on someone else just because you're in their life. Their life is going to unfold the way their life is going to unfold. You might just be playing a role of spectator. They spectate what happens in your life. Your life is unfolding, and it'll unfold individually as you. You are together, but you're living two completely different lives. His experiences of life have not been the same as your experiences of life. You were not brought up in the same household, with the same values. Sometimes your role is just to observe. Observe what is happening and pray about it, and just send it to the universe. Like, meditate on it. Whatever angle you use, your job is to observe without judgment. The judgment part is tricky, but your job is to observe without judgment. See it. Sometimes, I remember talking to a friend who said, husband is drinking so much. I said, yeah, it's him, it's his liver, it's his body, whatever. But you see, what if he gets into an accident? Again, that's too much responsibility for you as a wife or as a spouse or as a mother or as a friend. It's too much responsibility for you to hold on to someone's life. Like, you can't hold someone's life like this. If you drink too much, you might get into an accident. Or if you do this, you can tell them, you can mention these things, but they are not inclined to listen to you. Your role might be just observer. You live the life that you feel is good. If I had a problem with my partner's drinking, how about I live the life that how about I don't drink like that? If I have a problem with my partner's what can I use? My partner's dietary preferences. They're his dietary preferences. They work on his body. So why don't I try and do the thing that I want to do? Just worry about yourself. There's this clip on social media, I think it's a short, where this girl is asked by, I think, the parent, how can I help you with that? And she goes, no, thank you. And the Aster says, no, thank you. Like, so what do you want me to do? Worry about yourself. Just worry about yourself. A tiny, small girl, maybe 2-3 years old. Amazing, gorgeous. I love that girl. I should find that. She is very particular. She says, worry about yourself. And that is the answer. Just worry about yourself. That is the part that we need to understand. We cannot change people. And as wives, as spouses, as partners, you cannot change anyone. So being bitter about how someone is one of the most futile things you can do as a person. Futile. It's expelling energy that you can't. It's wasted energy, and that when that energy is wasted there, it is something else is being robbed. Something else is being robbed. And this energy is not Kekal, because if it was the energy that we burn at the gym, we'd all be skinny. We'd all be very, very skinny. We'd have expelled so much. But the energy we're giving off is, I don't know, life force. I think the only thing I would call it life force is your life force. And that is also energy, the energy that creates worlds. That's the energy we're talking about. Because it runs through you, you're expelling it over nonsense. I was expelling it over nonsense. And then this message kept coming, and it was the God who created this person has a plan for this person also. Why do I feel inclined to help him along? And when you feel like you really want to work, the energy is not expelled stupidly. God won't expel his energy when you're already expelling yours. Energy is an important commodity. It is useful. So when you stop and release this chaos, just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Whatever you feel is bothering you about someone else, leave it alone. Pray about it and leave it alone. And once you leave it alone, you will see God working in his own ways to get to this person. You worry about yourself. And that advice always shocks people when they call me, and that's what I tell them. I tell them, worry about yourself. Why are you bothered about what someone is eating? Why are you bothered about what someone is drinking? Why are you bothered about why someone's not reading or improving themselves? Why are you bothered? The moment in front of you is not bothering you. You are bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. There was Michael Singer who says something like that. I've never heard it. The moment in front of you is not bothering you. You are bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. And it's so true. It is so true. So sometimes when I come to sit here, there's some youngins who live in the premises, and they always come and leave the bottles and the booze and the cigarettes, and they really leave this place a mess. And because I like to sit here, this particular spot, I always come in and have to clean up. I have to because I can't sit here when it's messy. It robs me of some joy. Somewhere it robs me of something. So I come in and I clean up, and then I put things in there. I never even, the first few times I did it, it was such an annoying thing, and it was robbing me of my energy. It was really robbing me of energy. But can I control it? No, I can't. What can I control? I can control sitting in a nice space by cleaning up and throwing like stuff in the trash bin, which is right over there. But somehow they always just leave them here. And I look at it as a lesson, because when it started, I used to get really anal about it. Now it's not even a thing. It's a lesson. For me, it was a lesson in you will never be able to control everything. And if you could, there would not be any wars around. We would have no wars, we would have no homeless people, we would have no bitter people on the road if you could control things. And since you cannot, the trick is to just accept that the power that created the world knows what it's doing, and then you worry about yourself. I almost named this episode "Worry About Yourself," because that's essentially it. Since you can't do anything about anyone else's stuff or choices or thought process or opinions, or the only thing you can do is don't pay no attention to it. Leave it alone. This was a thing for me, and I said I had a rocky relationship with my dad, and at some point I felt like he used to really trigger me. Like I would be triggered left, right, and center, because I felt like his choices were really poor, and they were not what I would expect of my father. Let me not say a person, of my father. My father, in my mind, the blueprint of who my father was meant to be, he was not living up to that blueprint. So it was just chaotic. It was a lot of turmoil, and it was not a fun situation. It was not a place that I want to go back mentally. So for me to get out of that, first I removed myself from the situation. So I stopped interacting with him and his situation a lot. I worried about the things I could control, and that was my home, my house, my things, Of course, we'd meet when we meet, and I was cordial. I didn't talk about the things that I felt were, according to me, lacking or falling short. Well, at least in regards to the blueprint in my head. I just stopped addressing those things altogether, and I was just okay. I was okay. Even when it was really a thing that I really wanted to talk about, I just decided I can't do anything about it. I cannot make his choices for him. and the lessons are not going to be, because he is still an individual. He is a person in his own right. He is not, the part of him that is my father is a very small part. The rest of him is still a human being, and a human being who has to go through his lessons and his experiences and his life and his doing and undoing and learning and unlearning. He has to do it himself. It is him as a person. When the people who are triggering us are very close to us, we always feel like it's our job to fix it. It is not. Your job is just you. Worry about yourself. So this topic cannot end. It cannot end. I remember I did some programming right after high school, and I remember in one of the courses being told, the person who creates a virus and throws it into a computer or puts it in a computer is the one who can remove it more easily, because they know what they did. They know how to remove it. And it's the same in life. If you did not put this thing in this person, how do you think you're going to remove it? And why would you think it is your job? Why was I thinking it is my job? So nowadays, I just accept people. At least the aim is to always accept people the way they come, not the way I would want them. So I've met different people here, new people, and I found that the way I've been able to just be friendly with everybody is to just accept you the way you come. If you're not the kind of person who says hello a lot, I'll maybe just wave it. Let you be. I will not try and make you something you are not. And if you are more friendly, I will be friendly back, and I will take you as you come. And that is the only way we can literally change the world. If we fix that part of ourselves that tries to control others, trying to tell them that they can only do this or they can't do this, or in your opinion. Nowadays, my opinion, I try to give it only when it is sought. If you do not seek my opinion, I will stay with it. So this is thrown into the ether. If it lands on your page, I really hope it helps. It helps you navigate whatever small issue you're going through. But the one thing I will always tell people who are recently married, or at least in this shaky spot of marriage where the kids have come in and your lives seem to be going in opposite directions, is find your joy in where you are. Do what you can. So the thing that helped me is now trying to figure out who I was. I need to write down a clip. I'll put it somewhere, and it says, when you don't know what to do, when you have no direction, you have no place to move, you feel like you're just kind of stuck in this little spot, the thing you need to do is grow yourself. Just you. Grow your confidence, grow your self-esteem, grow grow whatever skill you want. Grow you, work on just you. And then the rest of the things in life will just kind of fall on your lap. Because people will ask me, I don't know, I've heard this because I've been there. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my life. There's nothing that I feel like is calling me. I don't know what my purpose is, and no one can tell you what your purpose is. When you don't know anything and you really have to do something, I'll tell people that do a business course or something, because that's it's across the board. But if you're able to be patient enough and trust that God is revealing things as you go along, you will find the answer. That the answer will come to you. It'll come to you without too many meanderings off the path, because you are never meant to be stagnant. Failure was supposed to be a part of your life. So if you're not afraid of failure, and most of us are afraid of failure, but failure cannot be debilitating. If failure is a debilitating thing for you, movement will always be a problem. If you understand that failing is a part of life, you'll be more inclined to try things many times. I'll give you an example of being a mushroom farmer. Is there any mushroom farmers out there? I salute you all. Mushroom farming is a very delicate kind of farming, and trust me to go into the most complicated thing in nature. Fungi was only classified as a division or kingdom. There's animals, there's plants, then there's fungi. It was always part of the plants. Now, when it was given its own classification, which is like in the 1960s, very recently, they didn't. It's had a very short life. Existence in its own category. So there's a lot to learn about fungi. So fungi farming is an extreme sport. Fungi grow in nature very easily, but in controlled environments, when you try to control fungi in your own artificial environment, there's a lot of learning, a lot of patience involved. So if you're a mushroom farmer, again, I salute you. You will fail many times. Many times. You will fail, you will destroy crops, you will go on losses, you will. This is a thing that you have to just roll with it. Don't be afraid of the failures. But the good thing is that every failure, you're told what doesn't work. With every single failure under your belt, you're learning what doesn't work. So you know the options that work have just become smaller. So it's been that kind of a situation with fungi, and life generally works like that. You will fail many times. You will try many things. You will try to do this and it probably won't work. You will marry a person, probably it will work, it might not work. You will change your careers many times. It may work, it might not work. But eventually you will find where you belong because you have also eliminated quite a number. And with each failure, you learn something that pushes you closer. For me, I failed because there's a point, I failed many times. But one of the ones that I say was one of my biggest teachers was I got into this sort of like just hardware and fiber installation and whatever. A thing that I really had no interest in. I didn't like it. It did not like me back. I wasn't happy doing it. And I was doing it to chase money. And that money never really came, if I'm honest. It didn't really come. It was just a phase that I would not want. I would not wish on anybody. Chasing money in exchange for your peace. I wish you all the best if that's your strategy. But I did it because I loved it. With the fungi, I failed many times because I loved it. I found it so interesting. Fungi are the most interesting things in the world, according to me. Do you know there's a fungi, cordyceps? There's a fungi that will infect an ant or small beetles, small things. It'll infect their minds and it'll just kind of take them hostage. And it takes your mind hostage and makes you go up into like a raised spot. And then it will fruit, like it'll push the mushroom through the bug's head, and then it will sporulate. And it'll propagate itself. It'll send the spores, which are mushroom seed, out. That is how it does its propagation. So when people think fungi is just the mushroom you eat, oh man, there's fascination in that whole world of fungi. I digress. But anyway, the world is full of surprises and new things. You should be able to accept the new kind of weird stuff. Observe it, see it, note it. Not everything is about you. You don't have to always have an opinion or have a hand in it or do something to change something or to influence something. Sometimes your role is just observe. And actually what I've found is most times in life, your role is observer. Observe without drama. Just observe. See what is being communicated to you, because somewhere in there's a lesson. There's a lesson somewhere in almost every uncomfortable situation or challenge or awkward spot or whatever. There's always a lesson somewhere in there. So if you can decide to just try to be more, to take more of an observing role, especially with our spouses, we women, I guess men also would benefit from this. If it would do you a world of good to let go and let God. In essence, all of that said is let go and let God. Trust that the unfolding is from a higher being. Because any other thought will keep you circling around trying to do and do and do. You're a human being. Be. Stop doing. Just human be. Human be. That's the biggest lesson of the day. Yeah. Try to human be and stop human doing. And with those few words, thank you very much for staying to the end. I hope this helps somebody out there. If it does, I'm hoping things get a little easier for you, and remember that, yeah, you are being done, you are not doing. So enjoy the rest of your day, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do if you enjoy this kind of content. I appreciate you. Have a lovely one.